Welcome to our channel. Today we're diving into a somber but important topic, the 10 biggest airplane crashes in history. These tragic events have shaped aviation safety standards and remind us of the importance of continual improvement in air travel. Our journey begins with a look at some of the most devastating incidents, where each catastrophe has taught us invaluable lessons. Join me as we delve into the circumstances surrounding these tragedies, paying our respects to the lives lost and acknowledging the tireless efforts to prevent such catastrophes from happening again. Our somber journey begins on the island of Tenerife, in the Canary Islands. March 27, 1977 dawned like any other day, but fate had a cruel twist in store. Two Boeing 747s, KLM Flight 4805 and Pan Am Flight 1736, found themselves diverted to Los Rodeos Airport due to a bomb threat at their original destination. Los Rodeos, a smaller airport, was ill-equipped to handle the influx of traffic, and confusion reigned as the aircraft were shuffled about the taxiways. A dense fog settled over the airfield, reducing visibility dramatically, a crucial factor in the unfolding tragedy. As KLM Flight 4805 prepared for takeoff, a series of miscommunications and misunderstandings occurred. The KLM crew, eager to get their passengers to their destination, misinterpreted instructions from air traffic control, believing they had clearance to take off. Meanwhile, Pan Am Flight 1736, shrouded in the thick fog, was still taxiing down the runway, unaware of the impending danger. The KLM 747, its engines roaring, hurtled down the runway, the pilots oblivious to the other aircraft in their path. The resulting collision was catastrophic. The KLM 747, unable to avoid the Pan Am aircraft, slammed into its midsection, tearing the Boeing 747 apart. The inferno was immediate and all-consuming, claiming the lives of all 248 souls on board KLM Flight 4805. Pan Am Flight 1736, though severely damaged, offered a glimmer of hope. Despite the fire raging through their aircraft, many passengers and crew managed to escape the wreckage. Tragically, 335 passengers and crew from Pan Am 1736 lost their lives that day. The Tenerife airport disaster, with a staggering death toll of 583, remains the deadliest accident in aviation history. It is a chilling reminder of the importance of clear communication, especially in high-pressure situations, and the devastating consequences when those lines of communication break down. We turn now to the mountains of Japan, where on August 12, 1985, Japan Airlines Flight 123 took off from Tokyo's Haneda Airport, destined for Osaka. On board were 524 souls, unaware that their journey would soon turn into a desperate struggle for survival. 12 minutes into the flight, a catastrophic failure occurred in the aircraft's rear pressure bulkhead, a critical component responsible for maintaining cabin pressure. The explosive decompression that followed tore off a large portion of the vertical stabilizer, the aircraft's tail fin, rendering it uncontrollable. The pilots, faced with a crippled aircraft, fought valiantly to regain control, but the Boeing 747, now a bucking bronco in the sky, was at the mercy of the damaged tail section. For 32 agonizing minutes, the aircraft erratically ascended and descended, the terrified passengers and crew enduring forces beyond comprehension. Through it all, the pilots displayed remarkable skill and tenacity, desperately trying to guide the stricken aircraft towards a safe landing. They managed to keep the plane aloft far longer than anyone thought possible, a testament to their bravery and dedication. However, their valiant efforts were in vain. The crippled aircraft, its systems failing, slammed into Mount Takamagahara, the impact echoing through the valleys below. The crash site, remote and unforgiving, made rescue efforts a monumental challenge. Miraculously, 4 souls survived the initial impact, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. However, the delay in locating the crash site and the harsh conditions hampered rescue efforts, and only these 4 souls lived to tell the tale. Our journey takes us now to the skies over Charki Dadri, India, where, on November 12, 1996, tragedy struck at an altitude of 14,000 feet. Saudi Arabian Airlines Flight 763, a Boeing 747 en route from Delhi to Dhahran, Saudi Arabia, was on a collision course with Kazakhstan Airlines Flight 1907, an Ilyushin Il-76 cargo plane traveling from Shymkent, Kazakhstan to Delhi. The skies above Delhi were bustling with air traffic that day, and a series of miscommunications and misunderstandings between the Kazakh crew and air traffic control proved fatal. The Kazakh pilots, struggling with their English, descended below their assigned altitude, putting them directly in the path of the oncoming Saudi Arabian Airlines flight. As the two aircraft closed in on each other, the pilots were oblivious to the impending disaster. The first officer on the Saudi Arabian Airlines flight spotted the Kazakh aircraft just seconds before impact. But it was too late. The Ilyushin Il-76, its cargo hold laden with heavy machinery, slammed into the belly of the Boeing 747, ripping through its fuselage like a hot knife through butter. The impact was catastrophic, instantly killing all 312 souls on board the Saudi Arabian Airlines flight. The Kazakh aircraft, its cockpit sheared off in the collision, plummeted towards the earth, crashing into a field near the village of Charki Dadri. All 37 passengers and crew on board the cargo plane perished. The Charki Dadri mid-air collision, with a devastating death toll of 349, remains the deadliest mid-air collision in aviation history. It serves as a stark reminder of the importance of clear communication and adherence to air traffic control instructions, highlighting the unforgiving nature of the skies when those protocols are disregarded. Our somber exploration now takes us to the Ermenonville forest near Paris, France. On March 3, 1974, Turkish Airlines Flight 981, a McDonnell Douglas DC-10, departed Orly Airport, destined for London Heathrow, carrying 346 souls. The flight, seemingly routine, turned tragic just minutes after takeoff. A critical design flaw in the DC-10's cargo door locking mechanism reared its ugly head, leading to a catastrophic chain of events. As the aircraft climbed through 12,000 feet, the faulty cargo door latch gave way, causing the door to burst open explosively. The sudden decompression that followed was nothing short of violent. The force of the decompression ripped away a section of the cabin floor, directly above the open cargo door. 6 unfortunate passengers, seated near the rupture, were sucked out of the aircraft and into the thin, frigid air. The damage to the aircraft extended beyond the loss of the cargo door and section of floor. Crucial control cables, responsible for governing the aircraft's elevator, rudder, and engine 1, were severed in the decompression. The pilots, faced with a crippled aircraft and a cacophony of alarms, fought valiantly to regain control, but the DC-10, now uncontrollable, entered a steep, spiraling descent. The aircraft, its fate sealed, crashed into the Ermenonville forest, the impact obliterating the once majestic aircraft. The crash, which claimed the lives of all 346 souls on board, sent shockwaves through the aviation world, prompting a grounding of all DC-10s and a thorough investigation into the design flaw. We return to the skies over India, where on August 12, 1985, tragedy struck once more. Saudi Arabian Airlines Flight 163, a Lockheed L-1011 TriStar, departed Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, bound for Jeddah, with 301 souls on board. Just minutes after takeoff, a fire broke out in the aft cargo compartment. The fire, believed to have been caused by an overheated oxygen bottle, quickly spread through the cargo hold, undetected by the crew. As the fire intensified, it began to burn through the aircraft's aluminum skin, sending a plume of smoke trailing behind the TriStar. Passengers, alerted to the danger by the smell of smoke and strange noises emanating from the rear of the aircraft, grew increasingly alarmed. The pilots, alerted to the situation by the cabin crew, initiated an emergency descent and turned back towards Riyadh. They successfully landed the aircraft back at Riyadh Airport, but the ordeal was far from over. Despite a seemingly successful landing, the aircraft continued rolling down the runway at high speed, eventually exiting the runway and coming to a halt on a taxiway. The reason for this delay in evacuation would prove tragically fatal. The engines continued to run at high power, a procedure to prevent the ingestion of potentially explosive fumes into the engines. However, this procedure also prevented the ground crew from immediately approaching the aircraft and commencing evacuation. Precious minutes ticked by as the fire raged within the fuselage, toxic smoke filling the cabin, suffocating the passengers and crew. By the time the fire was extinguished and rescuers were able to board the aircraft, it was tragically too late. All 301 souls on board Saudi Arabian Airlines Flight 163 perished in the inferno. The disaster highlighted the importance of timely evacuation procedures, fire-resistant materials within aircraft cabins, and the need for improved fire detection and suppression systems. Our journey through aviation tragedies takes us now to the Persian Gulf, where on July 3, 1988, a tragedy unfolded that sent shockwaves across the globe. Iran Air Flight 655 and Airbus A300 departed Bandar Abbas International Airport, Iran, destined for Dubai, United Arab Emirates, carrying 290 souls. The flight took off into a tense geopolitical climate. The Iran-Iraq War was in full swing, and the Persian Gulf was a hotbed of military activity. The USS Vincennes, a United States Navy-guided missile cruiser, was patrolling the Strait of Hormuz, tasked with protecting American interests in the region. As Iran Air Flight 655 climbed through the skies over the Persian Gulf, the crew of the USS Vincennes, operating on heightened alert, mistakenly identified the civilian airliner as an attacking Iranian F-14 Tomcat fighter jet. A series of miscommunications, misinterpretations of radar data, and a flawed identification process led the crew of the USS Vincennes to believe they were under attack. Acting on this erroneous information, they launched two SM-2MR surface-to-air missiles. The missiles, guided by their onboard radar systems, locked onto the unsuspecting Airbus A300. The crew of Iran Air Flight 655, unaware of the impending danger, continued their climb, the passengers going about their business, oblivious to the deadly threat approaching. The missiles struck the aircraft in quick succession, tearing the Airbus apart in a fiery explosion. All 290 souls on board, including 66 children, perished instantly. The downing of Iran Air Flight 655 remains one of the most controversial aviation disasters in history. It highlighted the dangers of misidentification, particularly in militarized zones, and the devastating consequences of a flawed decision-making process. Our somber journey takes us now to Chicago, Illinois, where, on May 25, 1979, American Airlines Flight 191, a McDonnell Douglas DC-10, prepared for takeoff from O'Hare International Airport, bound for Los Angeles. As the DC-10, carrying 271 souls, roared down the runway, a critical maintenance procedure, flawed and rushed, would seal its fate. The aircraft's left engine, improperly installed during a routine maintenance check, detached from the wing during takeoff. The engine separation, a catastrophic event in itself, triggered a chain reaction of failures that doomed the aircraft. The loss of the engine disrupted the delicate balance of lift and thrust, causing the aircraft to roll violently to the left. The pilots, caught off guard by the sudden and violent maneuver, struggled to regain control of the crippled aircraft. The stall warning system, overwhelmed by the conflicting data, failed to sound, depriving the pilots of crucial information. The DC-10, its left wing dipping dangerously towards the ground, continued its uncontrolled ascent for a brief period before stalling and entering a steep nose-down dive. The aircraft, its fate sealed, crashed into a field near Des Plaines, Illinois, just minutes after takeoff. The impact, devastating in its force, claimed the lives of all 271 souls on board, making it the deadliest single aircraft accident on U.S. soil. The tragedy of American Airlines Flight 191 highlighted the critical importance of proper maintenance procedures, the need for rigorous oversight of airline maintenance practices, and the unforgiving nature of aviation when those protocols are disregarded. Our exploration of aviation tragedies takes us now to the North Atlantic, where on June 23, 1985, terror struck at an altitude of 31,000 feet. Air India Flight 182, a Boeing 747 en route from Montreal, Canada to London Heathrow, with a final destination of Bombay, India, became the target of a horrific act of terrorism. Hidden within the luggage loaded onto the aircraft in Montreal was a bomb, planted by Sikh extremists seeking revenge for the Indian government's storming of the Golden Temple in Amritsar the previous year. As the Boeing 747 soared over the Atlantic, the bomb detonated in the forward cargo hold. The explosion, devastating in its force, ripped the aircraft apart. The forward section of the aircraft, its structure compromised, plunged into the ocean, taking with it the lives of all 329 souls on board. The bombing of Air India Flight 182 remains the deadliest act of aviation terrorism involving a Boeing 747. It exposed vulnerabilities in airport security, particularly in the screening of checked baggage, and the need for international cooperation in the fight against terrorism. The tragedy had a profound impact on Canada, as the bombing was orchestrated by Canadian citizens operating on Canadian soil. It led to significant changes in Canadian security agencies, including the formation of the Canadian Security Intelligence Service, and a renewed focus on combating terrorism. Our somber journey through aviation history takes us now to the skies over eastern Ukraine where, on July 17, 2014, tragedy struck amidst a backdrop of geopolitical turmoil. Malaysia Airlines Flight 17, a Boeing 777 en route from Amsterdam to Kuala Lumpur, became an unwitting casualty of war. As the Boeing 777 cruised at 33,000 feet, it flew over a region of eastern Ukraine embroiled in conflict between Ukrainian government forces and pro-Russian separatists. The aircraft, a symbol of civilian transport, became entangled in a conflict not of its making. A surface-to-air missile believed to have been fired from territory controlled by pro-Russian separatists struck the aircraft's left side, causing catastrophic damage. The impact, devastating in its force, tore the aircraft apart, sending debris raining down over a wide area. All 298 souls on board, including 80 children, perished. The downing of Malaysia Airlines Flight 17 sent shockwaves across the globe, highlighting the human cost of conflict and the vulnerability of civilian aircraft, even at cruising altitude. The tragedy led to international condemnation and calls for a thorough investigation to determine those responsible. It also highlighted the need for increased awareness of potential risks in conflict zones and the importance of avoiding such areas when operating civilian aircraft. Our final destination on this somber journey takes us to the small town of Lockerbie, Scotland. On December 21, 1988, Pan Am Flight 103, a Boeing 747 en route from London Heathrow to New York JFK, became synonymous with the horrors of terrorism. Hidden within the aircraft's cargo hold was a bomb, meticulously planted by Libyan intelligence operatives. As the Boeing 747 cruised at 31,000 feet, the bomb detonated, ripping the aircraft apart. The explosion, devastating in its force, shattered the aircraft into countless pieces, scattering debris over a wide area. All 259 souls on board, including 35 Syracuse University students returning home for the holidays, perished. The impact extended beyond the loss of life in the skies above Lockerbie. 11 residents of the small town were killed when a large section of the aircraft's fuselage crashed into a residential neighborhood, destroying homes and shattering the peace of the quiet community. The bombing of Pan Am Flight 103, the deadliest terrorist attack in the United Kingdom's history, sent shockwaves across the globe. It exposed vulnerabilities in airport security and led to significant changes in aviation security protocols worldwide. The tragedy also highlighted the long-reaching impact of terrorism, affecting not only those on board the aircraft but also innocent lives on the ground. The bombing of Pan Am Flight 103 serves as a stark reminder of the human cost of hatred and the enduring need for vigilance in the face of terror. As we conclude our somber journey through aviation history, we are reminded of the fragility of life and the importance of constant vigilance in the pursuit of safety. These 10 tragedies, etched in the annals of aviation, serve as stark reminders of the importance of learning from past mistakes. From the ashes of these disasters, we have emerged with a greater understanding of the technical, human, and organizational factors that contribute to aviation accidents. We have witnessed the evolution of aircraft design, the implementation of stricter safety regulations, and the development of advanced technologies aimed at preventing future tragedies. Let us honor the memories of those lost in these tragedies by continuing to strive for excellence in aviation safety. By remembering these events and learning from the past, we can work towards a future where air travel is as safe as it is essential to our interconnected world. Thank you for watching. If you found this video informative, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more content. Stay safe and take care.